So, Brodie, welcome to the show. Fantastic to have you on Give It a Nudge today. Shame you couldn't get here. Next time when we do the follow-up episode, we'll definitely have you sitting on the nice white chair next to me, and they are very comfortable, these chairs, I have to say. But welcome, and very happy to have you on here just before the end of the year. Why don't we start by you giving us a quick rundown, probably on Wealth, the business, and then we'll sort of come back and talk a little bit more about you afterwards. But tell all the viewers what it is that your business does.
Yeah, so Wealth is a lending and payments fintech with a sort of core focus on loyalty and also purpose. We've come to market in January of this year with our property secured lending product, so Wealth Lend. And that's really a platform built through the lending loop, which is a digital application process, enabling consumers to apply for a loan completely digitally. And then we've just launched as of November to the wider broker market as well, to be one of mainly only the core sort of challenger lender in market that supports the broker sector, I suppose.
Yep. And tell me and I've done a little bit of reading, and obviously we've spoken before, but tell me a little bit about the home loan product, because I think that will interest people, being able to do a home loan application digitally without reams of paper and some strange man sitting in your lounge room waiting for you to sign the bottom of it. Talk us a little bit about where the differentiating point is that, and then we'll come back to sort of your journey and how you ended up here.
Yeah, well, the strange man's optional, really. So that's up to you to decide if you want a strange man in your house. But we are branchless. That's my first dad joke of the day. So I'll leave you with
that was a good one. I like that. That was good.
But yeah, it's just about identifying opportunities in the industry. I suppose our sort of journey to get to Wealth has probably been a little bit more organic than your general sort of entrepreneur. Yep. Or coming from a banking background. We've been in lending and finance broking for sort of circa the last 8 or 9 years, and have built a traditional finance brokerage business, which is pretty successful today. It has over $1.5 billion on its broked book, and we just identified the need for other challenges in the market to fulfill a lot of the pain points that still exist within the Australian lending sector. So for us, the first component of that was to enable consumers to jump online via our lending loop and have a full digital experience where, as you said, you don't have to have reams of papers. You don't have to go and try and chase down statements or, open your mail from your filing cabinet. You can, simply upload your ID, do your verification of identity, log into your internet banking via the bankstatements.com link, download all your statements, give them to us, and then we can give you an approval within 48 hours from there. So just trying to make it simple.
Yeah, and we like simple. Everyone likes simple. So let's talk about you, because this business you run with your brother, right, Drew?
Correct.
So let's talk about that. Let's talk about, family businesses, always interesting. I'm assuming, I haven't actually met Drew yet, but I'm guessing that your brothers, that you're very different. I will probably meet him maybe even this week, but I'm looking forward to that. But talk about how you ended up in business together, as brothers, and how you ended up sort of coming to where we are today.
Yeah, well, we've kind of pretty much done everything together since we were kids. I mean, it really started from being in primary school. We were in things like composite classes, all the way through to sort of high school. Went to the same high school, we're only a year apart. After school, we would kind of always look after each other. And, I'd get a job at a cafe and get him a job, or he'd get a job somewhere and get me a job. And that really, went through all the way to when we started our own business. I suppose the dynamic of working with your brother is, we always say blood's thicker than water. So you can have an argument and quickly get over it after you sort of walk out the room and turn around, which is a little bit different to, having sort of friends in business, which we've been there, done that, kind of got the T-shirt and learned the mistakes there as well. But for myself and Drew, we're really yin and yang. To kind of give you a little bit of context, he's down in Sydney this weekend with the wider team for the Sail GP, as we're a sponsor of the Team Australia boat. And I'm still in Brisbane, probably the only exec team. Well, I am the only exec team still up here. Yep. Doing work and running our cap racks at the moment. So we're very much yin and yang. He goes out and does the schmoozing and the partying and the drinking, and then I'll, run the machine back a house. So it works well.
I'll make sure if I do see him that I mention that you said that you're the one at doing the work and he's the one down in Sydney with the broader team. And so how long have you guys been in this business together in total now?
So we actually launched Wealth to the wider public market as of January this year.
Yep.
But we've been planning for 24 months prior.
That's a lot of planning.
Certainly is.
And
certainly is.
You've gone down the venture capital route with this business, is that right? So you've gone through capital raising and fundraising and that sort of stuff?
Yep. Yeah,
I'd love
so we
to
did a
touch on
seed
that.
Raise earlier this year in March,
Yep.
which we closed off in June for $3 million via a safe note,
Yep.
Which is secured against equity, which was a good mechanism for us to not give away too much equity early on, but still give the investors opportunity to have significant uplift. So we gave them a 30% discount.
Yep.
So effectively they get 42.5% uplift, which is triggered off the back of the Series A, which we've just opened about 3 weeks ago. And we'll be closing that off end of January. And the trigger event for that was around a corporate merger as well of a payments platform out of Melbourne, which is a bill payment system platform that we've brought into our suite now. So it's exciting for us.
You're very exciting. And I want to touch on the capital raising. It's a question that we often get asked when you get comments on the bottom of the videos. We often get people saying, oh, can we talk more about the capital raising, how they found that? And I think it's probably a little bit even more unique with you guys because you're going to market as a family unit, right? Which is not that common in terms of the people that we get on. How have you found, seed round is seed round, that's different. But when you're going into a proper Series A, how have you found that experience? And do you think being a family business is seen as a positive, or do you think it's, how's that been sort of taken? I'm interested.
Well, I wouldn't really call us a family business. We've built out a pretty phenomenal exec team in reality, and that came through us in our planning phase, strategically targeting people that have kind of been there and worked on the specific types of products that we wanted to deliver to market. So yep. We've actually had zero feedback around, being a family business per se.
Okay.
We'd probably be more considered as a scale up at this point in time as opposed to a startup
yep.
in reality. But the cap raise journey in itself has been, I suppose, it's been positive to date, but it's a lot of work. I mean, there's a lot of preparation that goes into it. You're consistently on, back-to-back video calls, which probably makes it a little bit easier these days rather than jumping on planes and flying around everywhere.
Mm-hmm.
It does give you the ability to test and stress test your business model and the foundational components of what you're trying to achieve, and continually enables you to think and try and adapt, some of the feedback that you receive. But it definitely brings everything out to the fray.
Yeah, I've heard that before. I've heard it's almost a great way, or it's almost like a strategy session because you're getting feedback from people who've seen so many different businesses and so many different models. It can often really help you set your strategy for the future. As they ask you questions about things perhaps you hadn't thought about before.
Yeah, and it's good too. You get conflicting opinions. So, I mean, generally when you're speaking to someone like a PE, they'll have a specific mandate. So what I've really enjoyed through this process is, I suppose in your seed raise, you get a little bit offended if people say they don't want to invest because you're like, why wouldn't they want to invest? This is an amazing idea, because it's your idea. But as you get into the further raises, you understand that, specific types of capital-based firms have different mandates of what they're looking for within different sectors. Different amounts of equity they want to take, different amounts of check sizes that they want to write, different involvement. Some of them just want to fall back. So more so your family offices we've found are saying, look, as soon as you've got a lead investor on, we'll jump in. And that's probably more so that they like to let someone else do all the due diligence. And then they go, yep, cool, you got a name. Let's follow them through, which is smart, right?
Yep.
And then, the VCs and the different PEs that we've been speaking to, plus a couple of privates, where we're trying to identify, and it's probably good to talk about it because we're currently in this process right now where we've kind of moved through the first stage of going out to hundreds of different people, speaking to them, and then filter that down to your kind of core list that have shown significant interest. You go through the first stage hurdles with the PEs, the VCs, and the other cornerstones you're speaking to, and we've just kind of taken a opinion and an angle just to be super honest with them all and say, look, we wanted to give our existing cap table and the existing cap table of the merge co-partner the opportunity to reinvest Outside of that, we've got a couple of strategics. So one being our funder and one being our purpose-led partner, Parlo. Give them the opportunity to invest at this point in time while it's still, cheap in regards to where we want to head to in terms of valuation in the future. And then, basically speaking to and courting, as I said, we're probably down to about 4 or 5 different cornerstones that we're speaking to at the moment, where we're learning about them just as much as they're learning about us. You quickly get to understand how people operate. Whether they're quick to reply, are they asking the right questions? Could you see yourself working with them in the future? And helping them understand what we're looking for in terms of a cornerstone partner as well.
Yeah, absolutely. And look, you touched on something that I wanted to bring up as well, which was your partnership with Parlo, which I know is something that's very important to you. And I think that let's sort of explore it. Let's explain why you've ended up in that partnership and what you're looking to achieve, because I think it's an awesome angle that you've taken on this.
Yeah, appreciate that, Steve. It's something that we're really, really proud of. Like, honestly, we're humbled by the whole experience of being able to land them. So how it really came about is when we had the idea for Wealth, we said, look, we want to have purpose ingrained into the DNA of the organization. So let's choose an initiative effectively. And for us, it was pretty easy to choose, ocean purpose and the removal of single-use plastic, because we were already practicing what we preach. So as an example to that, prior to the pandemic, we had a rule within our office that no one would make bonus if they brought in single-use plastic. And that I'm talking, single-use coffee cups with plastic lids. Everyone had to have a keep cup. No one was allowed to bring in things like U-Foods because of the plastic containers that they were in. So we're kind of already practicing what we preached on a very surface level. And then through the journey of the ideation phase within Wealth and then bringing on our core team, it was about us explaining that we wanted this to be at the forefront of our DNA as an organization. And the first symbol of that was for us to create a card that was made from recycled ocean plastic. Mm-hmm. Naturally, then you start to, pull back all the layers and identify who the real, impact-led organizations are in the space. And, Parlo were always number one for us. I'd purchased a pair of the, Parlo recycled ocean plastic Adidas shoes from version 1 that they released, which was their most successful campaign globally, Adidas, and they had $1 billion worth of sales and $0 in terms of ad spend or marketing budget for that campaign. I had to buy mine off StockX. I'm a bit of a sneakerhead when it comes to collecting sneakers. So what I thought was, how the hell are we going to get Parlo to try and partner with an organization like us? And at that point in time, we were speaking to a series of different card manufacturers around the card that would be linked to our mortgage offset accounts, which we'll be launching in Q1 of next year. And we were speaking to all the major different card manufacturing organizations, and quickly you would understand from sort of the first or second meeting that they were either ocean bound or plastics that had come from being saved prior to landfill. And for us, it was more like we actually wanted to be involved in that end-to-end supply chain of removing marine debris, doing beach cleanups, having that go to a facility, being washed, being turned back into the naked plastic, which would then be utilized for the card manufacturing process itself. And I mean, we were talking, our CRO actually even looked at purchasing a plastics company in Noosa, and then thought, maybe we should start looking at becoming a card manufacturer, because we just thought it's so hard to achieve this. And then randomly, we were on a call with our card manufacturer, Giuseppe and Deveron, and we told them all about our story. And they said, look, we're about to partner with a supplier. And I just remember saying to our COO, Dave Curry, God help us, if this is Parlo, like let's sign up tomorrow. I don't even care what the price is. Like, let's just sign up. And their BDM came back and was like, I can't tell you who it is, but there's a fairly good chance it could be these guys. And we were just cheering. And then about a month later, we all jumped on a call together, kind of told them about our story, told them what we were trying to achieve, and they were like, yep, let's do this. So we created our own partnership with Parlo in conjunction with G&D on the card front, and said, look, let's try and create significant impact. So that started with every settled loan that we settle within the Wealth Lend organization. At the moment, we effectively give Parlo the ability to clean up 50 square meters of Australian coastline, beaches, or seabed.
Yep.
What that metric effectively works out to be is, $1 per 1 square meter. So it's $50 US per loan that we settle. And it's important to understand that metric because for us, it was about taking, the ability to offer a meaningful incentive per every sort of revenue line that we have coming into the business. And that started with lending being our first product that we've delivered, not just giving, 50 cents or $1 here from, or some meaningless sort of amount to try and slap their logo on our website. That's not what it was about. So we've been able to do our first cleanup. We did that about 6 weeks ago up in the Great Barrier Reef for us, which was kind of a pseudo trip to, obviously get a lot of our content together to start educating our customers, the consumers in the wider market on what this partnership means for us. So, we did diving, remove, discarded ghost nets off the Great Barrier Reef. We did some coral or watched some coral spawning. We had some Nat Geo film guys up there with us. We had a marine biologist. We had a shark expert up there with us. Obviously, the guys that were all representing Parlo as well, which are really, really cool. And they were helping explain and educate our team on what it means and how much of a problem there actually exists today with marine debris in the ocean. Like, as an example, we cleaned up just over 1 kilometre of coastline on Whitsunday Island, which, you can literally look a kilometre that way. And then there's Parlo, which is like, the top resort on Hamilton Island,
yep.
which is globally renowned. And we cleaned up within sort of 2 hours, 250 kilos of marine plastics, which had come from all over the world because the Parlo guys were able to match the barcodes and talk us through the type of plastic that we're receiving. You think, if we found that just there, and this isn't even an area that's outside of the coastline, so this is a protected inlet on the inside of Whitsunday Island in the Great Barrier Reef group of islands. And we're thinking, imagine on the outside islands, which we couldn't get out to because of the weather. But it's a crazy problem to even think about how we're going to start solving it. So for us, it's just about awareness. We want to create awareness, and we want to be involved from the cleanup all the way through manufacturing, create a symbol that can help, get Parlo's message out about what they're trying to achieve.
250. I've been to that island many times, as a lot of people in Australia have, and you wouldn't think there was any. I mean, you don't really notice it. If you were to walk along that beach, or if you were to stay, and I have stayed at Qualia many years ago, for my wife took me for my birthday, it looks pristine. Yeah. It looks pristine. The fact that you were able to collect 250 kilos there, and yet you see some of these images of places in Indonesia where it can't even contemplate how much might be in a kilometre of coastline there. I mean, that's just insane.
Yep. It's crazy, right? Like, so the only reason we found that is in the morning we shot off in the jet rib and looked around where we were going to go do this cleanup.
Yep.
And we saw one blue sort of, drum sort of container on the beach. And we thought, that looks like a spot. There's one piece of rubbish we can see from the boat.
Yep.
We got on there, the first sort of 50, 100 meters, a little bits of plastic. And we thought, we're not going to find that much today, which is a good thing, right?
Yep.
We'll probably have to go somewhere else. And we got around that corner of this headland, and then just where the tidal mark comes up and the greenery starts, like the shrubbery starts, was just chock-a-block full of garbage. Craziness, like absolute craziness. And some of that plastic's probably never been cleaned there before. So, 20, 50 years old, but it was just full of it. It was insane. And you think about the impact that has on the environment and, the flora and fauna that exists around there. It's just crazy.
Yeah, it'd be interesting to go back like now, however many months later, and see how much is re sort of collected. Obviously, the tides of dropping stuff there. That would be another. You should definitely go back and see, how much of an impact it's had, and whether it's built straight up again or whether that actually is 50 years worth. That's fascinating. I think it's great. I think it's a really awesome partnership. We've seen a lot of different ocean cleanup companies over the years at Nudge, and I think it's such a big problem, and it's not talked about much. And single-use plastics are still insane. There's just so much of it everywhere. It's terrifying.
I feel like we've done a bit of a 180 through COVID as well, because you think about the problem with masks. Most cafes actually banned heat cups through COVID because of the food safety of handing over an unwashed coffee cup for someone to then touch, had saliva and stuff on it. So yeah, it feels like it's gone backwards a bit. But
the takeaway food as well, like takeaway containers for food just went through the roof, right? So
yeah, through the roof.
Yeah.
It's wild. So there's a lot of work to do.
There's a lot of work to do.
It's just a symbol for us to try and drive home. And the benefit of that, or the organic benefit of that, is customer acquisition. So as an example, I did just over 3 years ago a Harvard Business School course on sustainable business strategies, just to try and understand how the big corporates are thinking about attacking these problems, and understanding what we could do as an organization to be better. And it seems weird having a finance company and with a purpose-led initiative and a partnership with Parlo, but over the next sort of 10 to 15 years, I think customers and consumers are going to expect companies to do good in some way, shape, or form, and not just greenwashing or saying that they're B Corp, like actually getting involved in sustainable activities. So yeah.
I think you're right. I think people will be asking, how are your cards made? What are they made from? It's the same with clothing, right? That it's becoming the younger generation now. They don't want to get anywhere near that fast fashion for the same sort of reasons. So yeah. So go back to wealth. You mentioned you got a new product coming out in January. What's the sort of what can you tell us about the roadmap? That you sort of can foresee from here.
Yeah, so for us, it's really about serving our target market. So wealth lending, property secured lending, anyone with a home loan, investment loan, commercial property loan, retail, industrial loan, we can serve and look after. However, the real demographic that we're looking to, I suppose, support is business owners and SMEs in the Australian market. So our next product that we're bringing to market is WealthPay, which is a bill payments platform built to support businesses in the ability to obtain credit, but also make payments easier and through flexibility, but also be rewarded and have a level of further protection above and beyond what sort of bank level security would be there. So use case for that is you as a business owner, Steve, you say, well, I'm either a financial controller or I've got a bookkeeper. I'll sign up for WealthPay. I'll do all my AML, KYC, KYB, so onboarding yourself as a business or digitally, super simple, don't have to supply paperwork again. From there, you'll then integrate your accounting platform, so either Xero or MYOB or QuickBooks, whatever it might be, into the platform. You can then load all of your expenses that need to be paid, all your bills that need to be paid. You can pay all your consultants as well. You can also pay staff via the bank transfer option. And then basically that comes through to the end. So the fifth step is you load all your different bills you want to pay. Then you have the ability to either pay via Amex, Visa, or MasterCard. So for a business, why we enable card present transactions there is the ability for businesses to manage cash flow. So as an example, if you're a hospitality or a restaurant, you need to go buy booze, alcohol, and the like for your restaurant for the weekend's trade. And you go, oh God, we're pretty short on cash flow. The utilization of this platform would then enable them to pay this, on credit card as an example, to a non-card accepting merchant, and have 60 days interest free. So it helps them manage their cash flow better. But what we're also looking to do is give them flexibility around payment options. So the reason for the merger, we bought the leading business payments platform out of Melbourne. They have two brands in market, Payment Logic and YakPay, and we've merged with these guys. And we're bringing WealthPay to market, which will be built on their infrastructure. They already have 7,500 businesses on the platform, 152,500 businesses that have been paid for the platform. They've done $4.4 billion worth of transactions over the last 8 years, and they've grown organically. And they've just got to the point where they need to partner with someone else to get to that next level of growth. So it's a good opportunity for us. But what we're really bringing there is a payments business, and then at the moment we're really a digital lending business in terms of what we've brought to market so far. So combining those two gives us the ability to offer further credit options off the back of that platform. So we'll have an installment product for business, or BNPL type product, which is invoice secured. And then we'll also bring our wealth credit card to market, which will be very similar to sort of the Amex proposition there, a line of credit card linked. And then on the payment side, we'll have the ability through WealthPay to pay out. We're then bringing in towards the end of next year our own payment gateway, which is the ability for businesses to take payments in. So we'll compete with the likes of Stripe and PayPal. And then to hold that whole ecosystem together, the glue, because we're bringing a holistic approach to business, financial and personal needs, is our Wealth Plus loyalty program. So we're building our own loyalty engine, which will be an agnostic point system. So you'll be able to earn points via good conduct by paying your loan on time. You'll be able to earn Wealth Plus loyalty points by integrating it with the WealthPay platform through Wealth Payway. And then also what we'll do then is currently within YakPay, you can link either Velocity or Qantas Business Rewards to earn points on top of your card scheme points, on top of your Amex points.
Okay.
What we'll do is we'll change that and flip it. So you'll be able to earn Wealth Plus loyalty points, but we'll give you flexibility in terms of being able to transfer those points into different networks. So, rather than just having just Velocity and just Qantas, we'll give the ability for people to transfer points into Singapore, to Etihad, to Emirates, whoever the leading sort of airline providers are at that time, Booking.com, TripAdvisor, different e-com loyalty point systems. So it gives businesses flexibility for them to use their reward points, and we'll act as a points broker in between to be able to transfer into different networks. Not too dissimilar to how Amex run their point system at the moment. So if you think of it, as I said before, we are a lending and payments organization with a key focus on loyalty and purpose.
Yeah, I love that. That's awesome. That I know lots of business owners who really the only decent point system that you have access to is Amex. The rest are also restricted. So yeah, if you can bring that across and then also enable them to pay things on Amex that they wouldn't as well, it's rewards everywhere. I think that's going to go down very well. I think people are going to like that. So with all of this, there's a lot of growth coming, obviously, particularly after your next raise. And I'm sure that, as you know, we get a lot of people watch this show who are interested in working for startups and scale-ups. So if someone's interested in working for you guys and working for Wealth, from in your own words, what's good about coming to work for you guys? Why would someone want to do that?
I'm just coming and working for an organisation that has a strong purpose. So every week we have a team meeting. We're continually educating our team on the Parlo partnership and explaining to them about sustainability and what we're doing there and how we can be better collectively, which our team's really bought into. They have the opportunity then to come and be involved in these ocean cleanups, etc. But for us, it's really just about culture. We want to find people that expect excellence in reality. People that want to be high performers, be involved in a growth style organization and have the ability to be a part of something that means more than just your particular role. Yep.
Cool. I think you'll find that is probably the one thing that I think we talked about this when we first met. We've noticed a change through the last couple of years of what people are looking for in their employees. And a lot of what you said there is exactly what, even if they haven't realized they've changed in what they're looking for that. So I think very well timed. Like I said, I love the purpose-led thing. And, the continual success will enable you to clear up more and more and more of that ocean. And as much as it is about creating awareness, every little bit's, it's reducing it, right? So it's having a big impact, I would imagine. I'm still blown away how much you got out of that particular coastline. That's really shocked me almost.
You can see the video online as well. We've just launched the partnership video and then also the Sale GP video as well. So that partnership we've been really, really lucky with too by leveraging off the back of Parlo's partnership with Team Australia and Sale GP. So how Sale GP works, it's basically Formula One for sailing. So they're powered by nature, so it ties in really well with our partnership. Parlo is their impact partner for Team Australia. So they have what's called the Impact League. So it's the first global sporting organisation that has points, and at the end of the season, a particular team will win the Impact League. So how much sustainability and impact they've created throughout the course of the season. So our sponsorship with Team Australia is very different. I can't claim that Drew came up with this concept, so I'll give him that. It's very unique by the way that we've effectively said to Sale GP and obviously got the tick of approval on this, was to link Team Australia's performance to the amount of impact that they created. So they're actually enticed to do well and to do better by the fact of, if they come first in the penultimate race, we'll clean up 1,500 square metres of Australian coastline or beaches, and that tiers back. So every race they have an incentive to do more, and then we'll create the impact reflective of their performance at each leg. So they actually won the Impact League in the last round, which is in Cadiz in Spain, off the back of the partnership with us. And then we went and did that cleanup. Post that, which has formed part of the film footage that you'll see in the partnership video that's now out all of our website and socials.
Cool. Well, what's the website? Spell it so that everyone can get it right and check it out.
It's pronounced Wolf. No, it's pronounced Wealth. I've had some crackers when people have tried to. How do you say? Is it WLTH? Yeah, it's WLTH. Just drop the vowels. Wealth. So wealth.com. WLTH.com is our website, and then all our social handles. Just search for WLTH and it'll pop up.
Fantastic. Mate, thank you so much for coming on the show and sharing so much of what you're doing outside of just another fintech. And that's what I love about this more than anything. You know, there's a fair few fintechs come up, but they've all very just been about making a profit. This has so much more to it. And I think that's going to really, I think that's just going to power your success. And some of the things you're offering small businesses there are other things that they actually want. You know, someone's actually gone out to find out what small business owners want, and you're creating it. So it seems like such a simple thing, but not always done. So look, well done. I'm glad you came on, really glad you came on. And I'm looking forward to seeing what you guys can achieve next year. It's going to be a cool year.
Thanks so much for having me. And if I can just leave you with one comment as well, Steve.
Of course.
And this is, part thank you. For any sort of organizations out there that are starting or about to get into sort of the cap raise journey or are looking at key partnerships, just reach out. I've been so, humbled, honored, just happy and excited by the amount of collaboration that's happening in the Australian fintech sector.
Yep.
And for people like you as well, Steve. So for those that don't know, I reached out to Steve and said, I've listened to your podcast. I've heard a couple of VCs and PEs on there that I think really speak to what we're trying to achieve as an organisation. Would you mind doing some introductions for me? Steve, being the great bloke that he is, I think reached out to about 4 or 5 different potential investors for us, off the back of one introductory phone call that I had with him. So, I think that's awesome. I think that people can learn a lot from it. And look, if anyone has any questions of us as well or wants to know more, feel free to reach out to us. Happy to collaborate and share time to help other people be successful in their journey.
Look, that's awesome. And I appreciate that. Thank you. And I agree. What I love about this sector since we got into it, only 2 and a bit years ago, is the just insane amount of collaboration that goes on without any expectation of anything back. And it's everyone in the whole space. And that's what makes it such an awesome space to work in. So actually, we will talk after this because I want to find out how some of those conversations went. But thank you for coming on the show. And I'm looking forward to getting this one out to the audiences.
No, I appreciate you having me, Steve. Thanks so much.